Welcome back. I'm talking to the Global CEO of GroupM, and we've addressed a lot of issues. What we're going to talk about now is brand safety and ad placement. Hello again, and that's another concern that clients across the world have, that they are aghast sometimes to see their ad in terrible environment or placed next to terrible content. And again, whose responsibility is it to see? You know, we've heard about whitelists and blacklists and stuff like that, and whose responsibility is to ensure that the brand is placed? Because as we go more programmatic, the more likely that things like this are going to happen.
Yes. I think there are multiple layers or levels of responsibility in that in that conversation. I think the clients have to be very clear about what they find an acceptable environment, right, and what the trade-offs are that they're willing to accept in return for those environments.
Right.
As their partner, it's our responsibility to then be very clear with all of our trading partners and sources of inventory and audiences on what those clients find acceptable and not, and then hold them accountable for that delivery. I do think that in the digital world in particular, partners need to accept a level of responsibility and deliver to the standards that are accepted in other forms of media and audience delivery. That hasn't always been the case. There's been lots of coverage of this issue around the world, but I think we have to hold them to a high standard, and that's what we're trying to do.
So can that be done by algorithms, or does it need human intervention? I know you're talking about human intervention in some cases. So what is the answer? How does this get done? Because the moment you bring humans in, it's the cost of compliance so much higher.
The cost of compliance becomes very high in that situation. Right. I think there's obviously a human element around it, and there is a technical capability that's required as well. I don't pretend to be a scientist in how we can use algorithms to root out what is considered acceptable content or unacceptable content.
Right.
We do expect, though, that our major digital partners are helping us on that journey and figuring out the ways to ensure that clients feel that their advertising is placed in appropriate context, in appropriate content, in a way that doesn't alienate consumers or their loyal customer base. And we continue to work very closely in partnership with all of those digital suppliers of inventory and audiences to deliver that.
Again, is it incumbent on each of you, the media agencies, to negotiate with your publishers and partners, or do you need an industry standard that just makes it easier for everyone?
Well, it's hard. I think acceptability is in the eye of the beholder in some respects. I think right. Different clients have different standards, and it's hard to set an industry approach or benchmark to that, other than saying we expect each of our major partners to work with us to ensure that clients feel that the investment they're making is being delivered in appropriate environments, in the right context, in the right content. Right. So I think it's hard to set an industry standard that necessarily speaks to every single client's requirements. Some clients have looser guidelines, some have very strict guidelines, and that's up to each client to set that based on how they feel their money should be invested. Right.
We've also heard in this context of blacklisting sites, whitelisting sites.
Yes.
And that certainly gets done by a human being, not by a robot or an algorithm.
At this stage, that's true. I think it's possible that machine learning or in the future might allow us to make improvements in that, but at this stage I think it is very much a human process that decides what's white and what's black.
Yeah. And does that come from the client, or does it come from a GroupM agency, or is it collaborative? And
it is collaborative, but at the end of the day, I think each client has to decide what are the appropriate contexts or level of environments of content in which they want their commercial messages to appear. The client has to make that decision ultimately, because they're the ones who are then accountable to their consumers or their customers. We will then be their faithful guardians of that as much as we can be in our interactions with all of the media partners that we work with.
Right. Now, coming to forget about all the media partners, just talk about Facebook and Google, two very big partners of yours across the world, even in India.
Yes.
So what is the role they play, one in the context of viewability, two in the context of safe environments?
Those have been challenging conversations. We've made progress with both of them, but we still have more work to do. So we continue to work with and push in some cases and pull in others, our friends at Google and Facebook, to deliver what our clients feel are accountable.
Friends? You said friends. Is it friend for you? Because Martin keeps saying frenemy. And
I think he's changed from frenemy to flexible friend. I think that might be the most recent description. I'll have to check with Martin on that. But I think we have.
You're right. It is
we have very productive partnerships with both. It's not always easy. We have disagreements. We have some some tense discussions from time to time, but I think both of us at the end of the day want to make sure that clients are well served. I was with Google in Delhi earlier this week, and we had that very conversation about our one single mutual interest is the success of our clients, our shared clients. So we sometimes have disagreements about how we get there, but we're united in that ambition.
What about Facebook?
I haven't seen Facebook on this trip, but we also have that same commitment to them, working closely together to ensure that clients are well served. Again, it's not easy. They have very strong positions on the effectiveness of their channel. We sometimes disagree with that, but we will work through that, and we'll continue to fight for our clients' interests, and hopefully we'll reach an acceptable place in time.
Right. Finally, we come to your India visit.
Yes.
It's a good time to be in India if you're visiting.
Yes.
It's a tough time if you're Srini.
Yes.
Because it's a tough market,
yes,
despite growth and so on and so
yes,
forth. So how do you balance this? Because your lens, you come in, you say, India's got higher growth than almost any market that you can name in the world.
Yes.
But Srini's got pressures which are extraordinary.
Yes.
Because what you see in, you look at ease of doing business, it looks fantastic. The World Bank has said India's gone up 30 ranks.
Yes.
But it doesn't translate to ground so well. And it's a tough business. So how do you balance that?
Well, I think we have to respect the people who are on the ground and who lead our businesses. One of the things we're doing in our business is to push more authority, responsibility, and yes, that comes with accountability, but pushing that down to the local market level. We've been a very globally driven business, and we will remain so in some respects. We work with global clients. We have to deliver for them on the ground in every market around the world, and we're only as good as our weakest market in that regard. But we are making a big push to put accountability, authority, and responsibility down into the local markets. There is no way I can decide from New York what is best in the Indian context. Only Srini and his leadership team working together with clients and with media partners who can decide that. So I have enormous faith and confidence in them to make those decisions. You're right, it's tough. Growth has slowed, at least in the Indian context. Again, compared to many markets around the world, it's still what I would consider a very high growth market.
Right.
And we think that growth will return. I think we're in a position where, in a place where maybe for the next year, maybe 18 months, we're still going to face some headwinds in the Indian market, but everything I see suggests that the country will return to the types of GDP growth and advertising market growth and GroupM growth that we've come to expect, and we're very optimistic from that perspective. But it's all about giving Srini and his team the resources and the authority to make decisions in the local market context. That's what we need to do more. We're doing that in China, we're doing it in the UK, we're doing it in Germany, we're doing it in Russia, we're doing it in Latin America. And that's our bet on growth, is letting local champions, local experts, outstanding leaders in local markets work to solve problems with their local clients.
And, we just saw the WPP numbers yesterday.
Yes.
Obviously, Martin talks of lots of pressures on margins.
Yes.
Because one is lower spend by large marketers.
Yes.
So in that context, what's your job globally going to be like? Forget about India and get back to the globe and tell us what you're seeing.
Our job is twofold. One is to keep an eye on costs. We have to be efficient and ensure our clients that we're looking at every penny that we spend and that also they spend, and ensuring that we're delivering value for money and ROI. And that's
how do you get margins up again?
We get margins up by creating ways to grow, is my opinion. I think, again, despite what I just said about managing costs and keeping an eye on those, we've got to create ways for delivering new products and services to clients that help them grow their market share, their revenues, and their profits. If we do that, the rewards will come to us.
So you're saying GroupM will be a maker, almost. Is that right? Yeah, I'm understanding that we'll be making things.
Yes, I think we will increasingly be making things. We've rolled out an initiative called In-Platform, which involves a significant investment in technology to allow us to manage data, to help clients make decisions about where they should be investing and judging what is the return on that investment. So that's a big product initiative from our standpoint. So yes, in that sense, we're making things. We've got to prove the value of those things to clients. We've had some initial successes. We've got lots of work to do. We're learning things as we go, but we will increasingly create products and services that add value to clients' business and that we can then share in that success.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for talking to us, and hope to see you back in India soon.
It's a pleasure to see you, and thanks for taking the time.